Hi guys. So welcome to the third episode of my podcast, Speak It Up. So today we have Mr. Deepak Singhal, who is a founder of more than two successful startups and currently is working as an engineer architect director in Capgemini. So without wasting any time, I would directly start with our podcast for today with our guest, and let's get straight to it. So how are you, Mr. Deepak, today?
Hi guys, I'm fine. How about you?
I'm great. I'm great. So, before we move on to our podcast, the audience would like to know more about you and basically what are you doing right now?
Okay. Well, about myself, I would like to say that I completed my engineering in 1999 from NIT Bhopal. After that, for last 23 years working in this industry. And among these 23 years, like for 3 years, I was working as an entrepreneur. And if that didn't work out, so I came back to my corporate job. And first 18 years were mainly into product-based startup organizations. But and last for last 4 years, I have been working in the services organization Capgemini as a director. From a
Okay,
technology
great.
point of view, I have been mainly working on Java, cloud computing, microservices, and Kubernetes, and big data.
Great. Great. So, Mr. Deepak, can you tell us and tell the audience also that from where this interest of technology and basically interest of becoming a Java developer came? Like, was it from your initial days, or was someone in your family related to the coding background, or like what?
Yeah. Actually, none of them. So I just
Okay.
completed my engineering in 1999. My branch was electrical, and that time most of the organizations used to be like software. So software organizations used to visit our campus. So I got the campus placement in this, and that's all. It was nothing, not my interest.
So you must be a bright student in your college, right?
I was like not the bottom one, but yeah, might be top five, you can say.
So do you feel, looking at today's scenario, that colleges are more focused on marks than the knowledge?
I would say that's a big debate, and we cannot generalize these things. Okay, like this has been people have been saying, people used to say even when I was doing my college that it is like that. I would say now the condition is still better than how it was like 25 years ago when I completed my engineering. Now, at least in our engineering, people teach Java, people teach, like my daughter, she is in standard 9, but she started learning Java, etc., right, in standard 9. And during our days, it used to be not like that. Things are improving, but yes, of course, I would not say that they are up to the mark or people, they are getting industry trained, but things are improving, that is for sure.
And like, what is your take on the faculty which is teaching right now? Do you think that they are skilled enough to teach the latest technology or to teach the latest trends which are happening right now?
Okay. Firstly, I respect my teachers. So, want to say that, but having said that, we have to understand that our teachers, they have been in that job for last 15, 20 years. So, for sure, they
Right.
will not be industry veterans. They will not be having that industry experience which other industry veterans might be having, right? Because they have been teaching
Right.
for last 2 years. So we
Right.
cannot even expect them to be, well versed in Java or well versed in. They are not like geeks. There might be some professors in some IIT colleges, etc., which are well in touch with industry. But I will say it is very unfair to expect our teachers to be that.
Right. Right. Cool. That is great to know, Mr. Deepak, from your side as well. So that brings to my another question to you, that what kind of changes in technology you have seen from your initial days, when you were basically learning and you were starting your career, and right now? What do you think that there have been major changes? And if yes, so what are those changes which you have seen in technology?
Well, I would say that technology is something which will, like, it just evolves, it keeps changing. Like, So when I was a kid, then people used to tell me that, doctor is the profession where people have to learn even when they get old, like even when they are 50 years old. I would say that same thing applies to us also, software engineers, that we have to keep learning our skills, we have to keep updating our skills. So yes, it will keep helping, the things will keep changing. But having said that, it is not that whatever you learn before it gets obsolete or it gets waste. Okay? You keep building on top of what you have already learned. To give you an example, like when I started my career in 1999, that time it was Java. So I was working on Java continuously for first 10 years. And then after 10 years, approximately, then I will not say I moved to cloud computing. I continued working on Java, but I started working also on cloud computing. So then it continued for next 10 years. It was Java plus cloud computing. And now for last 4 or 5 years, I have been also working on microservices. But again, it is not that I'm still using Java, I'm still using cloud computing, but I am also using microservices. So what I'm trying to tell you is that new technologies will keep evolving, it will keep happening. Nobody can stop that, and we should not stop that. Okay, that is the way we evolve. But you have to keep building on top of that. So today I am like using the technologies, using the skills which I did gathered in 1999 also. So yeah, to summarize, like yeah, before I used to work on RDBMS like Oracle, MySQL when I was starting my career in 1999. And in last 20 years, again, MySQL, Cassandra, MongoDB, all these things have come up. Now, it is not that I am not using that Oracle or MySQL. I'm still using them also, but along with that, I'm using NoSQL solutions also. So you keep building on your skills.
Awesome. So yeah, the main thing which you have said in the last is that you have to keep on building on your skills. Then only you will be able to basically cope up in this competitive world. As everyone knows that today everyone wants to learn new skills and they want to have all the skills up their back so that whenever they are out in the market, they are the most demanding and the most wanted one. That is awesome. And coming out from an experienced person like you, I hope that students will understand. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I did not exactly meant that. Okay, what I want is that there are multiple streams how people think about it, right? You can be a master of one particular technology, or you can be, you can have a lot of depth in a technology, or you can have a lot of breadth in multiple technologies.
Correct.
It is you
Correct.
who choose what you want to do. I'm not saying that you have to know all the technologies. You cannot. Nobody can. Okay. But make your forte. At least one technology you should be really good at. And that is what I always keep telling I counsel so many people that you don't have to keep, updating your technology stack is important. But more important is that whatever you do, you are very good at it. Okay. It should not be that for everything you have to go to Stack Overflow, for everything you have to go to Google. That shouldn't be the case. That is my take.
Understood. Understood. Uh, Moving on, in my introduction, specifically, I had mentioned that you have been a founder of more than two successful startups. So, like, audience would like to know about that. Also, that basically, what were those two startups? Just an overview, and basically, what does it take to start your own company, for instance? Like I'm sure it takes a lot of guts, it takes a lot of commitment to start your own company and like to start from scratch. So audience would also like to know about your startup experience and what was it basically. Yeah.
So, firstly, I would like to correct you that
Yeah.
they were not successful startups. They were failed. Okay, both of them were failures, and that is why I came back to the corporate job. Okay, having said that, I would say that it is a journey. Okay, and it is not for everyone. If you feel so, do it. If you feel so, if your family supports it, if you have enough financial support, enough financial backing, yes, do it. Don't think that you have to do entrepreneur, or don't think you do not have to do entrepreneurship. Both have their pros and cons, and every individual is an individual and they have their calling. Okay, so don't just follow somebody that he is doing his startup, so also I have to also do their startups. No, listen to your own heart, listen to your intuition, and follow that intuition. I would not try to put any rules that you should be doing this or
Yeah,
not doing this.
just one, but isn't it okay to get like to fail? I think it's a good thing to fail, right?
Yeah, it is good to fail, it is good to fail, which is perfectly fine to fail, but then you should think about it, right? You should be fail, you
Right,
should fail so that you can get up. For example,
right,
in a real time scenario, it is perfectly fine to fall, but it is not perfectly fine that you hurt yourself so badly that you die, right?
right.
You fall, it is fine, but you don't hurt yourself that badly that you die, that you are not able to even get up. So that is my take.
Right. So, talking on startups, so according to you, what are those key points a person should keep in mind if he has to start his business? According to you,
Well, as I told you, right, I feel I have seen all the worlds. I have seen the product based companies, I have seen services based organizations, I have seen startups, I have seen corporates, well established organizations of lakhs of employees. I would say that please don't just do it for the heck of doing it. Don't just do it because everybody else is doing it. Or don't be so scared of doing it because it is too risky. I would say that none of that applies. Everything goes on individual basis. If you feel you have got good idea, if you feel you can deliver it, but yes, one most important thing, yeah, I want that ideas are not important. The execution is important.
correct.
And I sleep and I keep introspecting a lot. I keep thinking a lot. I get at least two ideas every night. Okay. But that doesn't mean I will just go and do the startup. Trust me, that is a
That is
plan.
right.
We get so many
That is
ideas.
right.
This is better. Why can't we do this? Oh my God, this is not the right way. We can improve this. But execution is the important, and also team is important. That is one
Right.
important thing. If you feel you have the right team, then yes, you should be doing it. And with team, what I meant is not just the people who will be working with you, but also your friends and families, because that team is also required to give you moral support. It is not just this small team of people who will be working on
Right. And adding to it, like today, lot of students or lot of people are nowadays want to basically start their own startup, thinking that they want to create a founder or co-founder role on their LinkedIn profile as well, which I think sounds fancy to them, but the reality is something else, which you just said. So that is all I want to tell to the people also who are thinking to start their business, that even if you are thinking to start your business, you should have a backup, that what if it fails or what if it does not work out. So you should always have a plan B, as Deepak sir also said to everyone. So yeah, yeah, please.
it. Well, that is one approach. The other
Correct.
approach is, I will not say approach, the other thought process is that do not have a backup plan. Because if you have a backup plan, then you will not be
Right.
100% committed to your startup and you will not succeed.
That's true. True.
So
That's true.
I don't know where is the balance, to be very honest. I would say, yeah, one thing I would surely like to add is that you learn a lot when you do your own startup, because you have to do everything. You are a sweeper also, and you have to do product management, you have to do testing, you have to coding, you have to do everything. You learn a lot.
That's true.
But for sure, I would say build some experience. I would say I'm not, for example, firstly, I don't want to generalize everything, but in general, I would say that have some industry experience first and then you do a startup. It will help you in multiple ways. Okay? One thing is that you learn the practices, you learn how the organizations work. It is not just about the technology, it is about the processes because you will be seeing so many people, you will build your network. You never know that you might find the right set of team, you might find the right set of people who you want to start with. Right? Second thing is once you build, you do that. Even if you work for 2 years in an organization, also what happens, it creates some strong foundation on your resume so that even if it doesn't work out, you can always go back and do, back to corporate job. Otherwise, what happens if you have been right from the college, if you start, then what would happen is it will look like a break in your career. People will say, even the companies who are hiring freshers, they will say, oh, I cannot hire you because what were you doing for the last 2 3 years? Again, it is generally what I'm talking about. Exceptions can always be there, but in general, I would, that is my thought process. Like, think of an example, right? Even when you go to IIMs or some premium management institutes, right? Even they say that it is advisable that you have some industry experience before you come to MBA, right? So, and actually, even from my case, when I had like 10 years of my industry experience, after that, I got so bored of the job and I started thinking of doing an MBA. There is an executive MBA from ISP, right? I was thinking, let us do that so that there is some change in life. But then I thought, no, better is to do a startup because you learn so much in a startup rather than how much you learn by doing an MBA. So that was one of the reasons why I thought of let us do this rather than doing for that. So strongly recommended, have some industry experience, at least 2 years, and then probably you do a startup, you will get more mature also.
So, how much internships are important, according to you? Or because why I'm asking you this question is like when I was also a student, basically what the companies are saying that you don't have any experience, so we won't be able to give you internship. Like, let's say if I was a student of, let's say, finance, and I had an interest to do an internship in, let's say, C++ or coding related internship. So the first thing which used to come out of the recruiter was you don't have any experience in it. But they don't understand that that is why I'm doing an internship, because I'm not having any experience in it. So is that, I would say, I won't use the word wrong, but is that something which the company should look out or should modify while they are recruiting for internships as well? That even if the student does not have any experience, still we should give them or offer them an internship.
Well, if there are any organizations who are making that statement, that is weird. I agree with you. The whole idea of internship is that you are fresh out of college,
Correct.
okay, then you're actually doing it. But
Right.
we are not living in an ideal world. Okay, so things are as they are. But I would say one thing that even if, of course, you cannot have industry experience because you're just finishing your college, you just have 3 years of experience, right? You have 3 years of doing your graduation, right? So you cannot. But what you can have is there are so many, you learn the technologies. That is what for sure you can do. And there are so many websites like Leech Coding, those type of many websites are there where you can do coding, where you can get involved in a lot of coding competitions. And trust me, if somebody comes to me and he or she shows me that, see, I have completed so many programs on this website and this is my ranking, I will hire him immediately. Forget as an internship, I will hire him as a full time or her as a full time employee.
Right. Right.
The problem is with this Gen Z is that they don't want to code. They always
Right.
feel they will just copy paste from Stack Overflow and their work is done. So you might not have industry experience, but create your profile on all such platforms and do some programs there that creates your
Right.
profile You learn a lot. The best part is that if you do those programming assignments on such website, your profile is getting created. Same way like you have to create Instagram profiles. I'm just talking to your Gen Z students. You have to update so many photos or videos. Please go to such websites also, do some programming, create a profile there also. That profile will help you to get a job and not a profile on Instagram or Facebook.
Some harsh words, but you can say that it is a bitter truth that for today's Gen Z people that they are more towards this social media and they want to basically put their daily updates on social media, but they're least concerned about their career. That is a bitter truth which everyone has to understand.
Yeah.
So that my moving on, my next question to you will be that upskilling. We have been uh, hearing this word a lot of upskill this world, upskill this nation. So, according to you, from your experience, what is upskill?
I would say upskilling is important. As I was telling you, right? When I started with Java, and then I added to cloud. But first, you have to be good in something. Is one thing. Once that foundation is done, let me give you an example, right? If suppose you know Java, it is very easy to learn any other, not as Java, whether it is C also, C++ also, anything. Once you know one language, it is much easier for you to learn other languages. Okay.
Right.
For example, once you know AWS as a cloud computing, it is very easy to learn Azure or very easy to learn Google Compute Engine. Okay? Because all these programming languages will be almost similar, all these cloud platforms will always be similar. So, first, be good. I really request be good in at least one thing. So, when I take interviews, I daily take at least 4 or 5 interviews. I do not ask what I know. Okay, I always ask that individual that what are you good at, so that I will ask you only in that technology. Because I know that if you are good in that, if you have done your job well, you can always learn any other technology also. Because it is in a services organization, once even if I'm recruiting you for one technology, it is not necessary that I will have a project in that technology. I might have to ask you to work on something else. For that, what is needed is you having that learning aptitude. And for that, I need to
Right.
be sure that at least you are good in one thing.
Right.
If you are good in
Right.
one thing, rest I can make you do other work that I know that how to make you work. But
So you have to be master of one trade.
at least one thing. That's
Right.
all. You
Great.
know, think of it like that is your bread and butter. I'm not saying you don't have to
Hmm.
learn any other thing. Of course, you have to learn any other. But that one thing will sort of create foundation. Like even in languages, like we said, one has to be a mother tongue. And once we have a mother tongue, and then on top of that, we learn other languages, because then we always have to teach, oh, this is just happy go elephant. That conversion happens in our brains. So that mother tongue should be there first.
Right. Right. This interview, which like you just mentioned, uh, from that I just got one good question, and I think many of the students would be also interested to know about that is. So I have couple of questions for this segment. Is that first question will be that how or what are those important skills which a individual should have basically to bag a job in a very reputed company like what you call big B's right now, which are like Microsoft or Capgemini, Amazon, or all these big companies. And second thing, what are those demanding profiles according to you right now, which are currently happening? Those demanding profiles, and what are the important skills a person should have, right, to get the jobs in the big companies?
These all I can give you all the names of all the latest technologies, and everybody wants to work in FANG companies.
Let's name top five. Let's name top five.
what about these top five and all that? I would say I never have such boundaries in my career. Okay,
Right.
I feel my attitude is that you give me any work, even a smaller organization. Sometimes, actually, I have always worked in 18 years in startups. So another thought process is that once you work in a good startup, then you learn more. And during your starting career phase, you should be working in startups rather than buying companies.
Right.
But again, I will not try to generalize things. And the questions you asked is that what are the top skills or top notch skills to get you a job and all those things. I really don't want to answer that because in my thought process, I would, if I have to give a message to your students, don't try to target any particular company. Don't try to target, what is the hottest skill. Like, do whatever one thing you are good at. It can be Java, it can be DevOps, it can be some front end technologies like Angular, React. Trust me, I can find today as a director in Capgemini, I can find a lot of Java engineers who will say I'm a Java engineer. I live in Bangalore. Here there is a saying that even when a dog barks, he also barks in Java. So there is no dearth of Java engineers. What we don't have is good Java engineers. So that is my only request. You learn any technology of your choice. It can be Java, it can be DevOps, it can be front end, it can be C, C sharp, anything. But be very good at, and I'm giving you the clear path also. Choose one thing, go to such websites as I told you, like coding websites are there. Create a profile there. Do a lot of programming there. Do a lot of hands-on experience, hands-on coding. Create a good profile, and you can approach me. I will give you the job, but be very good at it. That is all I'm asking.
Yes. See, I think this podcast is basically not for the students also, but for me, it's also very much enriching and learning because from people like you and from experienced people like you, we also learn a lot. We also understand today's changing world and basically how you should be. Because we are also growing right now, and and more people like you who come on this podcast and share their experience with us will definitely make us a more uh, intelligent and an intellectual person. So,
More informed. More
yeah,
informed.
I'm sorry. Yeah, informed also. Right. Correct. 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 So, I'm like I'll come down to my last question, which you have already answered. I know, and you have already told that about couple of times. But are there any few message or are there any few points which you would like to point out to the students right now who are basically going into their career or who are basically going to pass out or who are basically still in this negotiation that what should we do? Should we go for engineering? Should we go for finance or should we go for this job or that job? I'm not generalizing, but a simple message to all the students if you want to give from your experience.
See, I would say, of course, everybody says the same thing. Okay. I will probably be repeating that. So, when I was growing up, that time our country was not having so many opportunities. Okay.
But
There were very few jobs. But now our country has progressed quite a lot in last 25 years. We have lots of jobs in almost every field. But what is required is that you should be good at that thing. Okay. I'm not saying you do engineering, you do medical or whatnot. Even when you see around, you see so many jobs in journalism, you see so many jobs as teachers. Before teachers used to not get paid. Now teachers also get paid so well, right? So be good at whatever you're doing. And I think dedication is missing from this Gen Z, right? That is the critical factor. I have my own daughter, like she's in standard 9, and when I ask her what you want to do, she has no clue. And So that is the problem, right? We as parents have already learned, oh beta, whatever you want to do, you do, we are supporting you, but they themselves don't know what they want to do. So
Right.
that is what they have to figure out themselves. My message to them is that it's okay, do whatever you want to do, but be very good at that, because there is a lot of competition outside.
Right. So, thank you so much, Mr. Deepak, to join our podcast and to basically give all our students so much of information and so much about your experience and basically whatever they wanted to take out of this podcast that will help them to basically in their career.
And sure, like my closing note, that I would just like to say that if your students want to connect with me on LinkedIn, they are most welcome.
Yeah.
They can just search for me, Deepak Singhal Capgemini, and I will be always there to help. Always there to help.
I would urge everyone, whosoever has any doubt regarding their career or their job profile or what they want to do, they can reach out to Deepak sir, and I'm sure that he'll help them and he will guide them. So that brings end to my podcast, and thank you so much, Deepak sir, for joining our podcast and basically for giving so much information to all our students. I'm sure they would be delighted enough. So thank you so much. Stay tuned for more guests and basically for more informations for my next episode. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.